Where's the phone jack? In case I want to use it this week.
It's that cord right there.
Ba, 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 ba. Ah, look at how beautiful. Because I brought the thing in today.
All right, you guys are good to go whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pep Talks with Steve Lally. Steve, hello.
Hey, Eddie, you sound much more excited than you sounded before we came on the air.
Yes. Well, this is my performance persona.
That's impressive.
Thank you, Stephen. Yes. So what's going on? Let's start it off right away. What's going on?
Man, there's so much going on. It's 195 fucking degrees out.
It's very hot, and it's hot globally.
That's right.
It's the planet is burning up, and I don't want to alarm anybody. I don't. Some people ask me. I think I read it on air. Someone said, "Are you happy that the apocalypse is coming? That the end of the civilization is coming?" And I thought about it recently, and I think I am a little happy about it. How about you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of beautiful things.
Yeah, why are you happy about it?
I don't know. I don't know why I'm happy about the end. It isn't health. I'm not saying it's healthy. You know what I mean?
You're just being honest. You are happy.
I don't know why. I think because to me, what that does on the one hand is it wipes all the assholes and the injustice out. And I think that's the part of me. Don't you love when people, and I'm saying this to you folks, don't you love when people say, well, there's a part of me that says this, and then another part of me, like, that's someone who is trying to get out of saying what they really feel, isn't it? Well, part of me does love you, but the other part of me is like, let me get out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
it depends on the spirit of it. It could be someone who's genuinely conflicted or someone who just doesn't want to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm. I guess so. I feel like even when we're conflicted,
we're full of shit, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, me included. And it's like, and clarity is just something that's very hard to get. You know what I want to talk to you about? A bunch of things. I mean, we could talk about the temperature, and we'll touch on it now. I want to talk to you about the writing process. And those of you out there, I know most of you don't write. You know, you're people who work in ammonia factories, or you're glass cutters.
Are those jobs still here? I thought they went overseas. It's like Filipinos doing those jobs.
Most jobs have went overseas. Or you work, or service. You're in the service industry.
Yeah, right. They work at the Metro PCS. That's what everybody works.
Ooh, what is that? Do you have that?
I
service?
do. That's why I said.
Is that where you pay as you go?
It's great. It's fucking great. I pay $30 a month, dude.
And do you get enough minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I get enough minutes? Yeah, it's unlimited.
Do you get enough minutes?
We turn and by the way,
I want to be that guy now. Do you get enough minutes?
It was like 1998.
Like this is me in maybe 5 years tops if we haven't burned alive from global warming or some kind of catastrophe or nuclear catastrophe. Just some horrible, or just fascism where blood runs in the streets. Right?
Or both at the same time, actually. Also,
oh, that is the worst.
That's a
when you combine social unrest due to economic hardship and the elites. I was reading. I'm all over the place as usual. My stand-up is like this too, by the way, which is I start one thought and I go into others. You know. But the elites I was reading today or yesterday, they all, the elites meaning the billionaires, not the millionaires, but the fucking billionaires. Jeff Bezos,
right,
who owns Amazon, you know, all these fucking guys.
The people who, the small number of people who own 99% of the wealth.
Correct.
In the world.
In the world. In the world.
But that's not a problem. That's okay, because the free market's
By the way,
the free market's regulating itself, Eddie.
By the way, folks, ask yourself when you turn on the news, you know, your CNN, and I was watching a little CNN today, And I don't do that usually. And I always feel nauseous and sick after about 20 minutes. 20 minutes tops. And they were grilling Mike Pompeo, the fat head of the CIA.
Yeah.
You know?
What were they?
They're just talking. They grilling him. That's what they called it on the CNN crawler. Mike Pompeo being grilled. He wasn't being grilled. But yeah. Why doesn't the news say, hey, 95% of the wealth is owned by 20 families?
No.
You don't get that
No.
on the news.
Not on CNN or MSNBC or Fox, no. Hey, I got a suggestion for you when you're, or anybody else who's listening who watches the news, who has to turn on CNN. I don't know why you have to do that. But if you do it, leave the audio, the volume on mute. It makes it more tolerable, and you won't get a headache. And I know that because at the gym, they have CNN on, but it's on mute.
And closed captioned?
No, I don't know if it's closed No, it's not closed caption. They just have the headline down at the bottom.
Oh, the crawlers.
Pompeo being grilled. Whatever his fucking name
Pompeo.
is. Being grilled. Yeah, that's all you can. That's much easier to tolerate it.
Yeah. But anyway, I was watching that, and a little bit, and they were talking about, of course, Russia and Korea, But they never talk about what's important to Americans. Not Russia. Russia isn't important to Americans. Healthcare. Good jobs, communities with common parkland, parks for communities, safety in the street, healthcare, economics, good jobs, high-paying jobs, safe neighborhoods,
Yeah, food you
clean
can eat.
neighborhoods,
How about food you can eat is good too.
affordable food. Yeah. But no, instead they keep everybody going, the fucking Russians, god damn it. So it's such bullshit. It's such bullshit, and I hope everybody sees through it. But when I look at my Facebook feed,
they buy it.
They're still talking about that.
Yeah, they're still
shit.
talking about it.
And I'm like, God, Jimmy Dore puts it really well. Jimmy Dore, who is doing a lot better than me podcast wise. He says, hey, Russia didn't poison the water in Flint. Russia didn't block single payer.
Right.
On and on and on. Right.
This is a delusional. I think people don't buy it. I think they're just not loud about it. And I think that the blue team fuckers who need the blue team to win, who just want Trump out, and I know some of those people. This is what it is. Julian Assange made a good point. He said it's much more common for people to be intelligent than to be courageous. For people to be courageous and stand up to the things that to disagree with your friends at the dinner party who are all going on about Russia and Trump, because they're not going to agree with you, and they're going to think you're a kook or, beyond the pale, and that's what it is. I don't think people don't have balls, man. That's the bottom line.
People don't have balls.
They don't have balls.
Did you hear that? People don't have balls. That'd be a good bumper sticker. People don't have balls. And part of the ruination of everything is climate ruination. And we are suffering in the United States and all over the world. Japan, people are dying. Do you know about that?
No, I don't know.
Japan, people are dying in the heat. I don't think they've had I don't think they're big AC equipped. And the global warming has hit Japan big time. People dying. A lot of people
just dropping dead from the heat.
Yes.
And there's humid there too, isn't it? It's not just hot.
I'm not. Yeah, probably right. So the global warming, brought on by the agricultural industry. You all want your meat. Well, I hope you're okay with rising oceans and burning woodlands. I mean, and California's burning up. California is burning up. The West is burning up. Southwest, particularly Oregon, huge fires.
Really?
Yeah. So you don't glance at the news, huh?
Not the Oregon fires. I didn't see that.
What have you been following?
I usually, sadly, I go on Twitter. That's how I.
And what have you been following on Twitter, my friend?
Caitlin Johnstone. I listen to her. She talks about debunking the debunking. She supports Assange, and she talks about debunking.
They're about to arrest him.
I know.
They're about to arrest Julian Assange. And by the way, this coming down on whistleblowers, Obama really came down on whistleblowers, by the way.
Well, Bush and Obama.
Bush
They were
and
both-
Obama, and I think what happened in Ecuador, which was giving Julian Assange sanctuary in their London embassy. I think they have a new leader now, and that's why Assange is close to being extradited. Right now, here he's in ill health, and I mean, this is how we treat. No wonder people don't want to stand up, because he stood up. You know, he released all these documents, exposing all this malfeasance about the Iraq War and just tons of stuff.
I know he did.
What else is? I mean, WikiLeaks still does it.
He leaked the Podesta emails during the
right.
Which the Democrat supporters now hate him because they feel like they gave Trump the presidency.
Right.
So how do you feel about that? How do you?
I feel like the Democrats lost the election on their own merit, and the stuff that came out in the WikiLeaks was, well, first of all, it was real.
It was real.
Hillary Clinton. They had great stuff like Hillary Clinton at a Goldman Sachs private event that it turns out she gets, I don't know,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
500,000 to speak, and she also was quoted as saying, me and Bill really don't understand the problems of people with no money. We've been doing so well for many years. I mean, that's a real quote.
Didn't even
you remember
know
that?
No, I didn't even know that.
What stuff do you remember from the Podesta
I
email?
remember that John Podesta was saying 2 months before Donald Trump was declared his presidency, his campaign, officially declared, and there was an email from Podesta to the Democratic Party saying, elevate Donald Trump's campaign.
That's right.
Take him seriously as a presidential candidate. And here's the real kicker. Tell the media. So when you had Trump on 24/7 on CNN and MSNBC, it was because the Democratic Party had that kind of push in the media that they could just make that happen.
And the media, who now rails against Trump, let's say, the CNN pussies and the MSNBC pussies. And I call them pussies because, they act like they're part of the resistance, but they gave Trump so much airtime because he's a lunatic, and lunatics are good for ratings. It's like, here's a train wreck. They didn't give Sanders any time.
No, none. And they blacked out the fucking of Bernie Sanders, by the way. They completely blacked it out.
Right.
So all every blatant, all the purged from the voter rolls in Brooklyn, hundreds of thousands of people in New York were purged from the voter rolls during the primary. There were 60 polling locations in Arizona, so hundreds of thousands of people didn't get to vote.
Who was doing the purging?
In each state, it was different. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz was overseeing the whole thing.
Okay, yes.
And then she
Debbie
had to
Wasserman
resign
Schultz,
when the emails came out. And she had resigned, and then Hillary Clinton hired her the next day.
Right.
For her campaign. So they were
the DNC, before the whole election got started, had decided on Hillary.
Well, yeah. She took on all their debt. Their debt.
That's right. Yeah.
So she kind of.
So anyway, and the Democrats don't have a great message. The Democrats have, the Democrats long ago, and I'm including Obama, and I know he's better than Trump comparatively, and this is where you get the pushback from people.
Lesser of evils.
The lesser of evils, like, okay, yeah, but who would you rather have? And they come at you big time, like, who would you rather have? Well, I would rather have, a real fucking man or woman who actually gives a shit about working people and not corporations and not, the very, very wealthy. And the Democratic Party sold the working man down the road many, many years ago. So we need, and read The Death of the Liberal Class by Chris Hedges if you want to have any information about that. So it is funny, like, just getting people coming at you.
Dude, I had on Shabbat my Jewish friend.
I'll tell you, more stuff.
He loves this shit.
More stuff happens to this man on Shabbat. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of starting a segment on this podcast called Shabbat Shenanigans. So go ahead.
All right. Well, here's the first version of Shabbat Shenanigans. My buddy and I are on Shabbat, and he's the only liberal person in this Jewish crowd. And
Explain what Shabbat is for those
Shabbat's
who are...
the day, 5-6 days of God created the earth, and then 7th day he rests. So the Jews rest on the 7th day, which is Saturday, Friday night, Saturday. Anyway, so we go, we're having a dinner. I go to celebrate Shabbat. The Jews are very conservative, by the way. Very conservative. I don't know where these Netanyahu motherfuckers all came from. When I was a kid, they were all hippies. But anyway, we're walking, and Andy, my buddy, he said, I asked him a simple question. I just said, look, I know you were a Democrat. Can you just explain the Russian thing to me? I didn't, not with any viciousness. No, I really wanted him to explain the Russian thing to me, and he started shaking, man. He started shaking like, you don't know that Russia did this. I go, listen, dude, I'm kind of on the fence, right? Like you think full of shit, but I really want somebody to explain some of the Russian stuff to me because I do think there is.
Was he able to?
Well, he started getting angry with me because I didn't buy into it right away. And I also told him I think that the Democratic Party rigged their own election, which is why they lost the general election.
He didn't want to hear it, right?
No, he didn't want to hear it. He was really upset. And then he calmed down and apologized later, but I could tell he was shaking. He goes, you're the only one who votes like me. How can you not know this? And he said Assange was a stooge for Putin. I mean, there are people who buy into this dude. So, and maybe I'm full of shit, but I hadn't made up my mind about all this stuff yet. I don't know. There's too many moving parts. I'm not the omniscient. I don't know everything. So I wanted to get his perspective. I was just in a good-hearted, kind, good faith way asking for his opinion and perspective. And he just
So you made a Jew shake.
The Jew shake.
He made a Jew shake on Shabbat. Like, how do you not get it?
Yeah,
Right? That
I
kind
kept
of thing?
trying to calm him down. But this is my very good friend, and I love this guy. Like, this guy,
Well, you're a loving man.
I am. Fuck you. Anyway.
By the way, this is neither hither nor thither, who were a great vaudeville team, by the way. If you ever get a chance to see old clips of Hither and Thither, wow. They were the kind of vaudeville team that you would really like. But just to keep people abreast, have you been laid since the accident? Still nothing happening in that. So Steve, as you know, hasn't been laid since the accident.
We got Shabbat Shenanigans. Haven't been laid since the accident. Have you seen anything on the...
It's going to happen for you. I mean, we're in a heat wave.
I almost got laid on the train over here.
On the train?
Yeah.
You don't want to get laid on the train.
No, this girl was beautiful.
But how do you get laid on a train?
You got to, with difficulty, Eddie.
Explain
but you can
that.
do it. You got to find a little compartment where there's nobody
There's no
around.
privacy.
Well, it was also noon, so there weren't a lot of people on the train on a weekday. So it wasn't like a rush hour, you know.
Because you could get arrested for sex in public, right?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You know what?
What are you in for? Sex on the red line.
That wasn't.
Jesus Christ! What was it, around noon? Yeah, I didn't think there was anybody there. What? You hadn't been laid for a while? Yes, I had an accident, and it just threw me off kilter, and I haven't been laid for a while. Yeah, huh? Well, what'd they do? They just came through the cars and caught you? Yes. By the way, we sound like the same person.
Dude, you this is your default voice, like the New Yorker at the body shop, who like fucking exposes himself on the train.
Are you making any headway in that area?
No pun intended.
Well,
pun intended.
I wasn't trying to pun.
I almost got laid. I could have gotten laid today.
What did? Well, on the train? No, that isn't realistic.
First, there was a bus ride, and then I got on the train with a girl. So there was a
Did
nice.
you get a number?
She took mine. She took my number, but she had a boyfriend. She had a boyfriend. That's another problem. You know, I'm trying. Trying to be a little more, but really beautiful girl, and
you guys just hit it off.
Totally.
What'd you guys talk about? The deaths in Japan, the heat wave in Japan? No, you didn't know about that. What'd you talk about? Podesta emails? Hey, hi. I just noticed you.
Here's the thing.
I just noticed you sitting over there. I was wondering.
Anytime a woman's too nice to me for no reason and she's attractive, I immediately start thinking about Roy Hobbs in The Natural on the train with the fucking lady in black. Come over to my hotel room. And
she wants the best podcast sidekick to go down in a hail of bullets.
Right.
By the way, that Natural movie freaked me out a little bit.
Why?
Just the insidiousness of someone doing that to someone.
Isn't that creepy, man?
Yeah.
And are you going to be the best there ever was? She asks him, remember?
Right, and that's the only reason she did it.
Because she killed a couple other guys.
Who were the best at what they did?
Yeah, a football player, and the guys.
Was that a true story? No, that couldn't have been. That
I
was
don't think
not
it was a
true.
true story.
What am I saying? Roy Hobbs was a fictional character.
But remember, she had her eye on Babe Ruth guy.
Yes.
And then she saw him, and she
By the way, we're talking about The Natural, which was a really good movie.
probably the best baseball movie ever made.
I love The Natural. If you're a baseball fan, you'll like it because it tears you up. Like, I like to get teared up in movies. Like, I like to be watching them sort of like this, like...
What's the part in that movie that tugs on your heartstrings, Eddie?
Hold it. Let me do this bit of acting. Like, I like to watch movies like this.
Help this guy.
My life is no good. My life is no good. Anyway, but it's it's cathartic when you cry during a movie. It's just there's a catharsis of crying during movies, don't you think?
I cry during The Natural. I cry.
When did you cry during
I
The
cry
Natural?
when the dad dies and the lightning strikes the tree, and he making the bat. You know, and you hear that music. That
Yeah,
music
the
coming,
music is a
the
big
music
part.
is a big one, dude.
But the music in any movie is a big part of tearing up.
That
you
music
know?
in that movie is probably one of the greatest. And who's the composer? It's a famous composer who did that. I think it's Randy Newman did all the music. Yeah.
Randy Newman did the
He
music for The
composed-
Natural?
Yeah.
Well, you got a bat, Roy Hobbs, oh, bat. You took a bullet, but now you're back. Sorry, so you haven't been late since the accident. The Natural is a good... How do we get into The Natural? Oh, yeah. So how did you start with this woman? Like...
I sat down next to her.
Yeah.
Because I had to get away from some fucking batshit crazy people on the bus.
Boy, you really...
And I
you
saw
are...
her-
By the way, I just want to say this. I don't intermingle with the masses.
Not to brag.
No.
He's bragging.
I promote your causes, and I am for the working man. But I don't do what Steve does, which is go on Los Angeles buses. I mean, I've been on the train a few times, but and the bus maybe once or
I
twice.
wouldn't admit that. Because now you're casting yourself down.
But it's rough stuff sometimes. There's so many people who are unhinged.
Totally.
And again, that's because, and this isn't a top story on the fucking news, programs for the mentally ill have been cut. The jobs are shitty, so people fucking become homeless, and that's never fucking talked about. And it's 120 degrees outside all the time here in the valley.
You were about to say New York.
I was about to say New York, wishing I was in New York because I talked
probably
to
20 degrees cooler in
I
New
talk to my buddy in Woodstock, New York, every day, and he says what's been going on in New York is torrential rain. This is upstate. Torrential rain, followed by sun, followed by torrential rain again, and he says he's never seen this pattern
That's
before.
Florida weather. That's
Yeah,
Florida
he says that they're
somewhat.
getting that kind of weather.
Wow.
And I'm just like pining away for the rain.
Eddie,
by the way,
yeah. Oh, you want to take?
well,
a
we
break?
have we have sponsors, as you guys know, and that was a nice long riff. But let's see. I'm going to read the first one. This is the Inner Truth Spa. By the way, these are real ads. I just want to, written by Matt Rasamoto, our producer.
The great.
He's intrepid. Matt is intrepid, and he writes these, and they're real companies, and it's great stuff, and they keep me and Steve. Well, he takes the bus, but, my 2006 Honda Element is purring right now. Okay, so this is the Inner Truth Spa. Do you see that New York accent?
Spar.
I said Inner Truth Spa instead of spa, which is why I don't have a lot of money too, because
you don't
my
get gigs.
my voiceover work has suffered greatly. I remember I had to say Captain America, and I said Captain America, and I said the guy who was running the voiceover thing said, "You're saying America," and I said, "No, I'm not. I'm saying America," and he said, "Here, listen back to it," and I listened back to it in horror.
And horror.
Well, horror is
Horror.
the way you get married if you're Jewish faith. Okay, Inner Truth Spa. Let the troubles of the world melt away at Inner Truth Spa. Our pools are heated naturally from thermodynamic shafts drilled deep into the Earth's mantle. This allows deep Earth minerals to rise to the surface, providing you a truly unique experience. We've taken a couple of spas there, and they go so far into the Earth that the minerals...
Invigorating.
It's invigorating. Now, and there are some problems, though. Some of our locations have reported the occasional mole person corpse, or what we colloquially call lava eels. These 20-foot-long snakes from the deep might be all teeth and poisonous spikes, but usually don't survive their bloodlust-fueled rush to the surface. Yeah, I mean, they're scary, but the minerals are worth it. If, during a luxuriant and mineral-rich mud bath, you find yourself confronted by a demented terror from the abyss, remember that they smell fear. And they do, and that's where me and you, we learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
So stay relaxed. That's very important. Stay relaxed. Let the reinvigorating minerals do their work, and an attendant will arrive shortly to confront the beast in mortal combat. We had a guy, Bob, who didn't fare so well against this beast, but we were able to get out. If the attendant survives, Inner Truth Spas will provide you with a complimentary glass of rosé and a voucher for 5% off your next visit. Well, our attendant didn't survive, so we didn't get the rosé. Think of it as a dinner and a show, and just one of the novel perks you can get only from Inner Truth Spas. So that's a great company. They drill deep into the mantle of the earth. There are dangers, these, demented beasts that live,
I thought when that eel came up, that when it was touching my leg, I thought you were trying to do some homosexual funny shit with me initially, because I didn't know about the eels.
Yeah, well, they don't want to tell anybody, but now they're
it's
forced
out in
to
the open.
legally.
Yeah,
they're forced to legally.
they've come out of their cave, up from their caves.
Yeah, and so all right. So how did you start the conversation with?
You're
this?
really this is a. I'm
I'm just
fascinated
interested
that you're
because you haven't been late since the accident,
and I'm not bad with women, so I think it's like I'm not supposed to be laid.
I think so too.
Yeah. I sat down next to her, and I just told her she was attractive.
You just went right to it?
I said, I must tell you that you're really attractive. And then
What'd she say?
Said, thank you. And she was flattered, genuinely flattered. And she said, I said, you're single or no? And she said, no, I have a boyfriend. And I said, well,
So that's first, she's like saying, I
Yeah,
have a
so
boyfriend, that's this.
Yeah. And then
Please,
I said,
sir. Please, sir.
And then I said, well, I would chase you around if you didn't have a boyfriend. I would, but you do. And she said, well, if I didn't, I would let you. She said,
that's a little bit of a
She said, you're a
come up.
handsome guy. Probably like 2 or 3 times a year, a woman will say that to me. Like once in a great while, if she's in a really good mood and she's being generous or something.
Is that each blood red moon?
I don't know,
Okay,
but maybe
go ahead.
it's a Rosh Chodesh. Anyway, it's the new moon.
Rosh Chodesh, okay.
So, and then the conversation carried on, and she wanted to know. Oh, and I mentioned, she said, "What are you doing?" I go out to Burbank, and my buddy has to pick me up for this work we're doing. And so of course she asked me, "What are you doing?" Because it sounded like I was dealing drugs or going on a professional hit. And I said, "I'm on this podcast with this guy. He's, kind of well-known comedian. That would be you." And she said, "Really? Let me look you up." And so I said, "You can watch it live." So she could be watching live. So I actually pushed the podcast during my, since I couldn't get laid, I was like, well, I can push the podcast. But we got off the bus, and then we were going the same direction, so we were getting on the train together too. So
was that uncomfortable? Or
no,
it felt fine?
You know why it wasn't uncomfortable? Because the girl was with it.
That's cool.
You could feel the energy. You know how it is when you talk to a woman and she doesn't want to really be there. But she was like enjoying. She waited for me to get off the
bus. What
does
she do for a living? Or
she
what?
works downtown. She does works at some coffee and donuts, some restaurant downtown.
Service
she's studying
industry
to be
job. See that service
right,
industry.
and she's studying to be a therapist. And we talked about
maybe
how
you could eventually get therapy from her.
I could. I need that, or maybe you could.
Well,
The therapy I need, she could give, but only if she's single. So I said to her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we were talking about how addicted people are. This is an interesting thing. How addicted young people are. Like way more. This is a generation younger than me because she was like 26. So how more addicted young people are to pharmaceuticals and opioids and alcohol, and how much more treatment is a major thing. That's like a major industry.
It's also, I was just going to say, it's big business.
Big business, dude.
I know a few people who are in, who treat people.
Right. And rich people, rich addicts.
A lot of it's bullshit, too, sometimes. I think a lot of the recovery centers, I'm not sure, but some of them are bullshit, like Malibu Passages, like rich people.
Right, $80,000 a month to go
Yeah.
get a massage.
Yeah, that kind of bullshit, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know enough about it, really.
Yeah.
All I know is a lot of people are addicted to shit more than
I think most people are. That's my because first of all, this society, I mean, they want you addicted to everything. Excuse me, the capitalist society wants you addicted to everything, so you'll buy shit, you'll need shit, you'll crave. Crave. Food is made to addict people. You know, yeah.
That's fucking. The whole thing is fucked, man. The whole thing is fucked.
Again, it comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, that when there aren't, when your society is centered around making money, and the top 0.001% have almost all of the money, and the rest of the people are clawing, and a lot of people don't have money, they're going to turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to escape horrific circumstances.
Except I'm talking about rich people are addicts too.
That's
so
true,
what
too.
is it with these fucking trust
They're
fund
bored.
cocksuckers?
I think they're partly bored. They have enough money where they can be idle. And then, first of all, I think also being an addict, there is some genetic component to it. But yeah, I mean, rich addicts are they're. I mean, I wonder what the percentage is, but I would have to think that, for instance, this opioid addiction is mostly. I would think mostly poor people for sure, but definitely a lot of rich kids, because their parents are busy, quote unquote, making money and living vapid, narcissistic lives where they don't really talk to their kids or live with their kids. They're out pleasuring themselves.
So they're fucking around with this shit, and then they can't get off it. They're fucking around with it. Because Eddie, I'm asking you because I have no proclivity for drugs or alcohol.
That's amazing.
It is a kind of amazing thing.
I think so.
But
yeah.
no one in my family either. Like my parents don't drink, so I don't have a genetic. Even when after the accident, they gave me powerful narcotics,
right? And
I didn't want to take them. I took as little of it as I could because it didn't make me feel bad. Like it took away incredible pain. But once the pain subsided, I didn't continue to want it. And other people get hooked on that shit. So I'm wondering how.
I think you're rare. I mean, I think people like you are rare, people who don't want, that kind of, who aren't addicted, who don't have a proclivity.
That's why I don't understand it then.
To addiction. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's, it's largely psychological, genetic, environmentally. Did you have a loving family?
Pretty loving, like abusive, overbearing Jewish mom.
Okay.
But not, everything, people were there. There was love. I mean, what about you? Or do you?
Hey, I don't want to stop prying. I don't want to get into that.
I think that answers all our questions then.
Get off of me, pal. I have a boyfriend. All right, now we also get calls.
Okay.
I had a fucked up family, that's for sure. Let's see, what do we got here?
How many calls?
We have a call. We have one call, but it's a doozy. Okay, Emma, our producer Emma. I could just play this. I hooked it into the jack here. Okay, so here we go. Here's our call. And we're off.
Hey, Eddie. This is Adam, Northern California. Just wanted to get your thoughts on... I'm sure it's a little less prevalent in your world, you being a significantly older person than me, but what are your thoughts on the douchey pickup artist game? I mean, it's been around for fucking ever since the game, and, you know, people completely extolling pimp culture and all this horse shit. And my roommate, you know, a mustached man who is wears a lot of rings and has a lot of tribal tattoos. You get the picture. He has all these books, and, you know, these books anywhere from Get Anyone to Do Anything by David J. Lieberman, or No More Mr. Nice Guy, where they go in and describe, you know, a lot of human traits that are described as being a ineffectual male, and all this unfortunate shaming of just regular human emotion. And they don't call it, you know, I know what they want to say. They call it being an integrated man. They don't call it not wanting, or they don't call it self-help people who don't want to be called a faggot, which is in reality what it is, in my opinion. Because all this stuff, if you really boil it down, it's just all the new age type of self-help, but with a misogynistic twist on it. And, and God, it just fucking infuriates me. I'm sure my anger is displaced because I'm younger and experience these ridiculous ideologies constantly. But what are your experiences with it, Eddie? What do you think about all this? Okay. Love the podcast. Love both of y'all. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye now.
What a great call. Adam, was he from Northern California, did he say? Okay, cool. Do you know what he's talking about with this? First of all, it does sound fucking disgusting, like, you know, the pickup artist. Like, and you know, to like be Marxist about it or capitalist about it. And thank you for the call, Adam. It's a great call. Oh, what am I doing? I have ads to read later with you. But you know, it's like looking as the, you know, the person you're going to pick up as a thing that can be manipulated.
Objectification.
You know, like it has nothing to do.
Because men are so bad at communicating with women and interacting with them that they look to these.
It's interesting that this call, and I had forgotten that this
Yeah,
call was
but
about
I
that
get-
because you just were
well,
talking about going on a train
But I
and
also,
saying to a woman.
But just doing that, I get confused for a guy like that. And I get accused sometimes of being a guy like what he's talking about because I talk to women because I'm not afraid to talk to women. So it's I think it's a complicated thing, man. I mean, I don't like people looking at me like I'm one of those guys who wants to do some Machiavellian shit to women to act it out because I wasn't able to get enough love or affection or, you know, like an incel. You know about these incel people? Have you heard about that?
No, what's that?
Involuntarily celibate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember one of the dudes went on a shooting rampage.
Yeah, that's like a psychotic reaction to not getting laid, but not getting enough affection from women.
It's misogynist. I mean,
dude.
It's so misogynist.
Bizarre.
But your thing is you're saying that you're just genuinely interested in women. Like you don't want to, like when you said you're a very attractive woman to this woman today.
I mean, I was.
See, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I'm married, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that because I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. That would be my thought.
And sometimes you do. Sometimes I do. When I'll tell a woman,
I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable.
But so, how do you meet women then? Like, how does a man meet a woman? I mean, I spent 10 years in black comedy clubs, and
yeah.
you know, black guys, they talk to women. Like, they talk to women. They don't wait for. It's not like we're English and we're waiting for a friend to introduce us to the opposite sex in order to have a relationship. Like I don't, you know. So I get what he's saying. Like, those people are psychotic.
Well, yeah. I mean, he has seen, you know. I think he said a guy he lives with.
Yeah, the mustache and the tribal tattoos.
Yeah. Like all very calculated, like Lothario bullshit. I hadn't heard of the guy, you know, the books that Adam brought up, but it does sound pretty fucking insidious.
It's bad, but women fall for that shit. I mean, I'm almost kind of amazed.
I guess if
women
you're
fall for
good,
that shit.
I guess if you're a good-looking guy and you can, pull off.
I could never
that
pull off
shit.
that fucking fake musician shit. Fucking surfboard. You and I are
But
just not
I mean,
guys
I
like
wonder.
that.
I wasn't even aware that there's fucking, like books out. And he made a good point about like there's no humanity about it. It's like just like very manipulative.
Was there
and-
any humanity ever in any self-help book ever? I mean,
What do you mean?
Well,
Of
I mean,
course.
really, you think? I think
Yeah,
it's
why?
all kind of like I'm sure it helps some people, but it's like some fake spirituality stuff, man. I don't know. If it helps people, that's great. But like that is psychotic, Machiavellian.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manipulate a woman into bed, kind of a thing.
We have a sponsor.
Do I get to read this one?
Yeah, this is yours. Go ahead.
JanSport MAGA. This is Eddie's big one. I'm so honored that I get to be a part of this today. JanSport has been doing its part to make America great. Although the tariffs on China will increase the cost of our great backpacks, lead to severe, if not crippling, layoffs, JanSport assures you that all the while the quality plummets, the great JanSport style remains. JanSport's MAGA line of backpacks is now built using only upcycled items assembled by our lowest wage employees. Kids love tripods. Kids love Tide Pods. So what kid wouldn't want to go to school wearing a backpack made from an empty cardboard, Tide box, and kite string? The American Nature series of backpacks are fashioned from hazardous chemical buckets and the pelts from the raccoons that died in them. Completely unrelated, JanSport President Steve Munn is selling his 2013 Chevy Impala for whatever it costs to keep 2 more employees on the floor. JanSport MAGA line of backpacks, turning irresponsible and poorly thought out financial policy lemons into a kind of lemonade that no one really wants to drink, but it won't drink itself. Thank you, JanSport.
What did you give yourself for that one? Because I thought there were a couple of hilarious miscues there. The biggest one was instead of saying Tide Pods, Steve said tripods. And it was very funny. Kids love tripods. I mean Tide Pods.
No, because we were talking to Brody, we didn't get to read these over. We didn't actually get to review
Don't
them.
blame Brody Stevens. And also, when you came to completely unrelated, I think that should have been like a separate thought. But you went completely unrelated. Completely unrelated. JanSport President Steve Munn is selling his 2013 Chevy Impala for whatever it takes to keep 2 more employees on the floor. Anyway, JanSport.
You always read them better, Eddie. You always read them better.
Well, it's a great company.
Yeah, we want to give them.
They have, they
You know what? Hey, look.
upcycled items.
Look. See? There you go, JanSport. I use your product.
But did we finish with Adam's question?
What do you
about
think? What do you think?
this sleazy pickup artist. I guess it's a whole fucking culture thing. And to me, again, it would have to be related to the dehumanization of society in general, which is why the Me Too movement, has been largely a good thing, that women are getting empowered and speaking out.
Do you think it used to be better with men? Give me some perspective, because you have a few years. Do you think men used to be a little more forthright? Do you think it was a little easier to get love? Do you think men were a little kinder to women in different generations? And
I don't know about that. I think men. I don't know, because people will say that men were always terribly cruel, and there was none of this consciousness about treating women right, for so long, and in a lot of I guess blue collar households, women were treated like shit, and like old, quote unquote old school stuff had its good and bad things on it. Like these days women are more empowered, but you hear more. I don't know if it's because it's just social media, but you hear more.
Horrific stories,
right?
Of women, and I remember there was one woman friend of mine. She's a little older, and I was making fun of something because some of the Me Too stuff is kind of ridiculous to me, but a lot of it's necessary, really necessary, especially Weinstein and all these.
Oh yeah, the
guys,
big guys.
Yeah, like abusing their power. You and I, we don't have to worry about that because we've never had any power.
That's right.
So, but yeah, like
it seems that college kids seem to be, involved in a lot of shitty stuff, right? Like
I don't know.
I'm
not in college anymore.
I don't know. Maybe we should have Adam call in again.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
And have him follow up.
Yeah, and tell us more about his
and
I'll
look up the book he was talking about.
But I would say this, Adam, because I get lumped in with those guys because I like to talk to women. So don't lump us all in, all guys who want to get laid, and from a guy who hasn't been laid since the accident.
When was the accident again?
December. I had been laid in November. So please don't lump us all in with the tribally tattooed, the guy with the surfboard and who pretends to play the guitar to get laid. We're not all that good at it. So have mercy on us.
All right. We have one more sponsor I want to read, and this one is Love Apathy. Puppy love is fleeting. Sure is. You can't expect to build a lasting relationship with someone you just fucked blind on a pile of damp gym socks. If you are looking for true lasting love, there is only one app out there that cuts to the core of any meaningful relationship. Love Apathy. Real love is based on a grindingly submissive routine of exhaustion and indifference. That is why Love Apathy is the only dating app without picture, age, or gender requirements. The patented Love-O-Meter checks your lack of interest against a catalog of other impassive candidates. If you want excitement, get a puppy. But if you want to experience true and everlasting love, let Love Apathy pair you with a beige shadow of humanity that won't judge you for watching CSI while you clip your toenails with your teeth. Or let an entire pint of Halo Top melt on your chest because you fell asleep during your 5th consecutive viewing of The Lake House. Find yourself a partner who will treat you as a ghost in your own home with Love Apathy. That's beautiful. They're
so
beautiful.
It really is. And Love Apathy.
Written by Matt Rasamoto.
And you know what? Love Apathy could help a lot of guys out who are in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're a company and an app, and I don't know about you, but apps are my closest friend. I love apps, and I feel like if you've ever seen the movie Tron, that I've been injected into a computer.
Not to brag, he's bragging again.
And I'm with my app friends, and Love Apathy is just a great app. That. It's just nice.
Technology has really changed your life, Eddie. If it wasn't for these apps and the smartphone, I mean, what would you have done? You'd be just listening to the Beatles on records and Rolling Stones and...
You guys, so if you're watching this on Facebook Live, I'll be at the Hayworth Theater, Dynasty Typewriter. I don't even know what the hell they call it here in L.A. 10 o'clock show called Friends Like Us. Tomorrow night I'll be at the Comedy Store in the original room. 9:30 show. I'll be going on around. I think it's 10:45.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow night, which is Thursday night. If you're listening to this, Thursday night, July. What's today? The 25th.
26th of July.
Today's the 26th.
Tomorrow's the 26th.
So it would be the 27th at the Comedy Store.
No, tomorrow's the 26th.
Sorry.
God, it's like an Abbott and Costello skit.
Tomorrow, July 26th, I'll be at the Comedy Store in the original room.
10 p.m.
Tonight, July 25th, I will be at the Hayworth Theater, the Dynasty Typewriter, downtown L.A. on Wilshire Boulevard. So yeah, and then I go to Amsterdam. If anybody wants to see me, you're in Amsterdam for whatever reason, or you live there and you're listening to the podcast, I'm at Toomler's. August, I believe it's 8, 9, 10. Look up Toomler's, Toomlers, and then the Altercation Comedy Festival in Austin, Texas. I will be headlining September 27th. And do you have any show dates?
I do, actually. I'm be at the Silver Dollar Saloon in El Monte.
That's right, El Monte.
You just fucking love that.
El Monte.
El Monte.
Where is that?
I've never been there. It'll be my first time.
The Silver Dollar Saloon in El Monte?
Yeah.
Are you driving?
Someone else will be driving. Another comic.
How long a ride is it?
I'm not sure, but I know.
Oh, you haven't even.
I've never been to El Monte.
I'm gonna Google
40
it now.
minutes, 30 minutes from LA.
It's
east of LA.
It's
east of LA.
Silver Dollar Saloon.
Yeah, El Monte.
Okay.
August 7th, and I have a bunch of other dates coming up. I'll actually be out of town. I'll be on the East Coast for a tour. I'll be in Tampa, Florida on September 20th at the Brass Mug. That date just came in, and that's a Thursday.
Where are you going to be? When?
Tampa, Florida, September 20th at the Brass Mug in Tampa, Florida.
Okay. El Monte's 54 minutes away from here, by the way.
Minutes, with traffic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And there will be a bunch of other East Coast dates. If you're on the East Coast in the Southeast, you want to come see me, check my website, check my social media, Stephen Lally on Facebook, Lally Comedy on Twitter.
Okay. And we didn't really cover, some of, well, we have to go, but.
We do? Because we didn't do our segment.
Oh, wait, we have one more segment to do. That's right, I forgot about it. I'll sing the theme song of it, and here it goes. Did you see anything funny on the street? Ow! The street has funny things. Did you see 'em? The street is not just a place to get from place to place. It's a funny place. And did you see something funny on the street? Steve, did you see something funny on the street this week?
I did, but we don't really have time. I'll talk about it next week.
We do.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 190 degrees out, and I'm in the valley waiting for Eddie, and I'm in the Coffee Bean, and the Coffee Bean is taken over by like 20 meth heads. 20 meth. And this is how, if you're ever curious who a meth head is, you might be angry with me because I'm judging somebody who's chronically addicted to drugs and probably selling it to their friends. But a meth head is somebody when in 120-degree heat who's moving at a normal pace when everybody else is going,
yeah.
And they're moving at a completely normal to slightly above average rate. And
I don't believe they don't have heart attacks.
They took over. Well, they're also, these guys were probably in their 20s, and there were a couple older meth heads who came in, and they looked.
Did you say you were waiting for me?
I was waiting for you, but I get there a little early, and I was there, and they took over this Coffee Bean, and the guy it was just fucking incredible. It was just fucking. Nobody at the Coffee Bean.
Is this the one on Lancashire?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I know. I've been in that.
Nobody
one,
at the Coffee Bean stopped it.
What did they do?
They just let it go. They're like,
what they do? That they didn't stop. What they do?
They were just loud and taking over, kicking people out of the seats, and almost like an old, like a Warriors movie.
And
like
nobody did
stopped
anything?
it. Nobody stopped it.
And you were there?
I was there, and I couldn't help it. And the guy who had the backpack who was selling the drugs, you could just tell if you know anything about the streets, you know who's selling the drugs. He's got the couple of backpacks. Everybody's kind of looking at him, waiting for him. They're waiting on him to get their drugs. And he's like, it's not time yet. And he's a brother who looks like he's got the Odell Beckham blonde haircut. And he's a nice looking brother, and he's got a really smoking hot, like 22-year-old girlfriend who's watching his bags, who's holding on to his bags for him. And I just thought it's like to watch these crackheads, and I'm wondering if anybody else in the Coffee Bean is like aware that that's what's going on. Or it's just me that knows what's going on. And anyway, you might not be laughing at this, but it was a completely fucking funny, crazy. And they kept going in and out of the fucking Coffee Bean. You know, if you're on crack or meth, you feel perfectly fine in 120-degree heat. They're hanging outside moving, jiving around. Anyway, that's what I saw that was funny on the street today. Eddie, how about you? Did you see anything funny on the street?
No, I did not. All right, so that's our podcast. Thank you, folks, for listening to Pep Talks. We're with the All Things Comedy Network. We want to thank our producer, Emma, our
Thanks, Emma.
Producer and writer, Matt Rasamoto. And we will see you next time.
That was pretty good, man.